right, so Miss Alice Olson, you are in the studio, and I am so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, Rich.
This one will be fun for me, and I'm pretty excited. So let's get right into it. Please introduce yourself, and let's get rolling.
My name is Alice Olson. I come from Minnesota. You'll hear it in my long O. But I lived in New York for 25 years before coming here with my husband, Mike, my husband of now 55 years. And we arrived here first for Christmas of 1994.
It's 94.
And bought a house, identified a home, and negotiated its purchase over the next couple of months. So it was March of 95 we became homeowners in Nosara.
How'd you learn about Nosara to start with?
We had been to Costa Rica twice within just a couple of years. And the second trip, on the way home, the first trip we went up to Playa Hermosa, and the second trip down to Manuel Antonio. And on our way home in the airport, a guy in line with me struck up a conversation. Where did you go? What did you do? Well, we're on vacation, but we're kind of thinking about retirement property. And he said, don't buy anything till you've been to Nosara. A couple of months later, our friends, Ralph and Elizabeth Maxwell, Buzzy, he was known as here, called us from Fargo. We were in New York to say, we know you've been to Costa Rica a few times, and we're going down with the Bows, some friends that we also knew, for a 2-week social tour. We're going to learn about the medical system and all of the things that make Costa Rica admirable around the world. And, but then we'd like to stay on a couple of weeks at a beach. Do you have a recommendation for us? And we said, we've never been there, but why don't you go check out Nosara for us? We both had the same guidebook. Beatrice somebody, I can't remember her last name, but it was called The New Key to Costa Rica. And we opened it to Nosara, and we found Condominio de las Flores, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet, $250 a week. Perfect for this couple from Fargo. They came down. The Maxwells and Bose stayed for 2 weeks. The Maxwells stayed for 4 months, and they bought the place. They invited us down for the next Christmas. We came. We found the house. We arranged to buy it, and that was it.
Wow, so a lot's happened since 1994.
Oh, boy, yeah. Well, the house came equipped, as I'm sure people who've been around here for any amount of time know, came equipped with a CB radio, which is the only way we had to communicate from person to person without just either going to the person's home or just putting out the word.
So what kind of messages would come out?
So
what do you mean by that?
Well, I'd say... I'd just say to my gardener, we need to talk to Chapa. If you see him, would you have him come around? And 20 minutes later, Chapa would be at my front door. I have no idea how they spread that word, but we knew that all you had to do was put out the word that you wanted to see somebody, and they'd come by. But the truth is, we didn't use that CB radio much at all, because once we bought the house, we came down one time in the summer of 95, and then it was 18 months before we were able to come back. We were both working full time. We had very limited vacation. We had very limited money. We had weddings and graduations and other things like that to use up our time. So we weren't here during those first 2 years after owning the house. And I think we must have gotten a telephone in 99. So we weren't very long with that. We used the fax machine at the Gilded Iguana. We went to the Iguana. We were bridge players. And there was a pickup game of bridge at the Iguana every Tuesday and Friday. If you just showed up, you got to play bridge. So we used the telephone there. People may or may not, listening to this may or may not know, there was only one phone out here at the beach, and that's where it was. And it was kind of around the corner in a little cubby with a stopwatch and a little notebook and pen, and you just timed your call. You wrote down your name, wrote down how long you were on the phone, and then at the end of the month you came by and paid whatever it was they were charging.
Right.
And my sister would send me a fax once a week with all the news from the U.S. That she thought I might be interested in hearing. And mostly we just went to bed at 8 o'clock at night and got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were often the only people on the beach. I mean, I can't count the number of times we'd walk over to the beach and it was just us.
Sounds like it was a pretty magical time.
It was a wonderful time. It was a wonderful time, and we were so glad to be here.
What was the biggest challenge back in those days, if you had to think about a challenge or two?
Oh, boy. Well, we chose Nosara, among other things, because of the remoteness and that time to not be with people and not to do much of anything, but also because we had the idea that if we needed services, they were here. We, services like electrical work or construction of any kind, and there were people here who could do those things, and that was critical to us because we could not do any of those things. Mike was a tax accountant. I was a college administrator. We didn't know a hammer from a nail, and that's the truth. So we needed to know that if something went wrong with the house, there was somebody we could call to come fix it.
I got you.
And that was, but we also just loved how remote it was. You know, the crossing 4 rivers to get here, and all of that is very romantic, really.
Gotcha. So forging across the rivers and unspoiled beaches and
your question was, what kind of challenge did we face? Plumbing. We still do. It's very hard to find a plumber here.
That's true.
I've often thought, we have friends in the States who are plumbers, and we say, you want to make a living, you go to Nosara. They need plumbers in Nosara. But we found plumbing services now, but it was a long, long time.
It's so hard for someone listening to this to even equate what you mean by what it was like then. And the fact that you guys did communicate via CB radios, and I've heard so many stories from various people about the gossip wall and all kinds of stuff. And Marlon Bill, people will know him as Marlon Bill, and Bobby just crack me up sometimes when they're sharing their stories of how there were 2 cars one time in Nosara. The 2 cars hit each other and wrecked.
Oh my God.
Like there's just so much. And jump starting the airplane to get it back off. And just, you guys saw something really special.
Well, and we were able to meet some of the real pioneers here. The people that we bought from in 1995 had been here for 18 years already.
Wow.
Yes, they came in the early 70s. Their building supplies were brought to Garza and then either overland by ox cart. They came to Garza on the water and came in up on the beach, and then they came by ox cart here to build their home. And we, Ann and Will Scarlett, and just some of the Corn Blues who are still here, have been here since the 70s. Here's a funny story. I told you I don't have funny stories, but the Corn Blues lived across the street from us in Manhattan.
Really?
I am not kidding. It was just amazing.
Nosara to this day has that effect on people. You see people from wherever. It's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, well, we didn't know them until we met them here.
That's so funny.
We were in the Midtown Manhattan. You don't know your neighbors in Midtown Manhattan. But anyway, it was a blessed time, and we feel so lucky to have been here then and to meet the people who were the pioneers here.
Is it hard to be here now? Because compared to then, this is like a buzzing metropolis. But I mean, but to the people coming in now, it's not that way at all. To the people coming in now, it's like, hey, look at all this nature. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Perception is reality, right?
Right. I'm always surprised when that happens because, of course, it doesn't feel that way to us. But we don't live at the beach anymore. The home we bought was right at the beach and right near Harbor Reef, basically. And we sold it 6 years ago, I guess 5 or 6 years ago, and moved into Condominio de las Flores. I'll say that. When the Maxwells brought us down here, we thought this would be perfect. But of course, they'd already bought it, and it was the last condo available over there. So that's why we went looking for a house. But we bought their condo and lived in it for a year. And now we live in Bosque Verde, a development that's on the far side of Arenales that was created by the very first people we met here in Nosara. That first morning we stayed here, Mike and I went out early to walk on the beach. The only two people on the beach were Barbara Guyton and Julio Batista.
What a trip.
Those are our best friends here, you know, and they had a place up in Double E and ultimately bought this mountainside and decided to create this development. And we're really, really happy to be there. Though when we bought a lot there. It was not with any intention of ever building. We loved being at 2 minutes walk from the beach, and we thought we'd be there forever. But Barbara and Julio were struggling. In the late 90s, there was a little crash, and Julio's an engineer, and he wasn't going to put anything on the market until the development was ready for residency. He wanted a water system. He wanted a drainage system. We had the first fire plugs in Nosara.
Yeah, back there.
10 years ago, he put those in. They were struggling, and we just thought, it's certainly Nosara real estate is as good a place as any for us to put what little retirement money we have. So we just bought a lot to help them stay afloat for a while, And it sat there for 6-8 years, I guess, before we even considered going up there.
The theme that you're going through is very similar to when I first came to Costa Rica. It was August 5th, 1999 was when I got here. And then between 99 to 04, I just combed the Pacific coast, checking everywhere that I possibly could. And the one theme that I noticed was people get positioned in, I guess call it the most desirable locations, but then it grows and those people are like, all right, I'm going to bounce out here a little bit. And then often there's another bounce. Yeah. And that's exactly what your story is. Cause it was like now Guiones to you has to be like, holy crap, what's going on right now?
I hate to use the word nightmare, but that's how it feels.
So then to Pilata, and now Pilata's starting to get going too. And then Bosque Verde, which has been so difficult to sell. Because people are like, it's way out in the middle of nowhere. How would anyone ever do anything back there? But the people who've been here the longest are gravitating exactly to there. It's it seems like a consistent theme up and down the coast. Because when I was in Tamarindo, by then Tamarindo had already actually kind of had its thing. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, it's gone. It's Tamagringo. But the people were on the outer areas. Same thing, Jaco. Same thing everywhere. Nosara. I didn't understand the Nosara area or the Playas de Nosara because the town was way inland, and then it was like, hold on, the activities are over here. It was this anomaly. I didn't quite understand it my first go around. Actually, one of the best pieces of advice I was given for driving here was most everything's in a circle. You'll either end up back where you were or you'll hit a dead end. Yeah, and it's kind of true because if you think about it, that actually is how our setup is. But I'd end up in Pilata looking for Guiones or vice versa.
I will say we were surprised when we put our house on the market. It was with the idea that we would build in Bosque Verde. We'd already decided. Some friends, we had rented out our house at the beach and had planned to go to the Caribbean. We'd been here for 14 years and never been to the Caribbean coast. And we decided we'll do that at Christmas. Nobody's coming down. We're not going anywhere. We'll go to the Caribbean. And on Halloween night, October 31st, I fell and broke my ankle and lower leg. And, you can't get in and out of a boat at Tortuguero.
No.
On crutches. And I was actually I had 3 surgeries, and I was still doctoring for it when Christmas time came. So some friends up in Bosque Verde said, we're going skiing, come and stay at our house. Because our house was committed to our renters. So we went up there and we thought we died and gone to heaven. I mean, it was so quiet and it was so private and it was so beautiful.
The views and the breezes.
Yeah. And we just immediately came down and hired somebody to get our place in shape. All the wood needed refinishing to get in shape to sell. And then we got lucky and sold it in time to buy the Maxwell's condo. And we moved into their condo. They went back to the U.S. They were in their 90s by then, or Ralph was. Liz, I think, was 89 when they returned to the U.S. And we moved into their condo and had already decided we're building a 1-bedroom house. And we're using the condo as our guest house. People come down to visit. They want to be at the beach. They want to be within walking distance of restaurants and all of that. So we kept the condo for several years as a guest house. We did home exchanges. It's been a really, by the way, the whole world wants to come to Nosara. So if you want to go somewhere else, you can exchange homes and have tremendous experiences. We've been to Ireland twice. We had a whole month in South Africa. We've had fabulous home. Spain is our favorite. We've been to Spain 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. And that has been one extraordinary and totally unexpected benefit of our time here in Nosara. For all those years that we were working and owned a home here, of course, our vacations were always here. And so we never did all that other kind of traveling that we would like to do.
And then your home here allowed you to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's been a gift.
Now I want to ask you a couple questions because you are. I have a little term I call the Saints in Nosara, and you fit under that umbrella.
Thank you very much.
And a lot of people don't know what you've done. The main thing that we agree on is giving back, and I think that's the bond that you and I have between us. Yeah. And people new to the area may have never even heard of Friends of Nosara. Mm-hmm. And people who have been here for a while who are looking to get involved are now starting to talk about it. Hey, what's that Friends of Nosara thing? So what I wanted to bring you in for is to help people understand what's going on. So if you could quickly just give us a synopsis of Friends of Nosara and what's happened, and then I want to go in and tell the story of that if we can.
Okay, sure. Back in 1999, when we were able to start spending a little more time here, the library, Biblioteca David Kitson, was in a little storefront right next to the soccer field. And I think we measured it once. It was something like 10 by 20 feet. I mean, it was not much bigger than the room we're in here. It was divided in 2. The front half was stacks and a work table, and the back half was where Beverly taught typing on old manual typewriters. And a wonderful couple from Canada came down once a year and took everybody's old computer parts and made computers to put, so the library had 7 computer stations, and John taught computer skills. He taught the Microsoft Office package at that time. And kids who wanted to learn computers had to be able to type 20 words a minute on an old non-electric manual typewriter. And Beverly taught keyboarding, which we call it keyboarding now, typing then. And the place, as soon as school let out, the place was just full of teachers and kids. A school in the Central Valley had taken the library on as a project one year and raised enough money to give the library every book in the standard Costa Rican prescribed curriculum.
Right on.
They had 6 copies of each book.
Yeah, so that was a big score.
Big. And of course, the kids have no books. There's no library in the school. The teachers aren't even given books. If you're teaching here and you want books, you got to go buy them. So everybody used the library. It developed a wonderful resource section for kids doing projects, and it was just buzzing, but desperately in need of space. And the local development committee, Aden, at that time, I don't even know what it was called at that time, but they gave the library a piece of land. And so it needed money. I was a professional fundraiser at that point in my life. And Mike and I are readers and really huge
So basically
supporters.
The library, I see where this is going. The library was the catalyst
for creating Friends of Nosara.
To get this whole Friends of Nosara machine going.
Yeah.
And for those who might not know about Friends of Nosara basically became, dare I say, channel to our funnel to where you guys set it up so different organizations could be 501c3 qualified, and people could designate, hey, they could give basically from the states and they could get their tax deductions. But you guys found a way to make this whole tree happen. So that couldn't have been easy. We're proud of
what happened. Well, it turns out it was way easier than I anticipated.
Really?
Yeah. We created a New York nonprofit. We applied for 501c3 status. I think I sent the information in on the 1st of December, and on the 17th of December, we had our 501c3 status.
And this around 99, 2000?
99. I'm giving Al Gore's Reinventing Government credit for that. It just was like this. It was done. And so we had 501c3 status, and we in effect lent it to all of the local organizations that didn't have the wherewithal to create it. I'd been a lawyer. Mike was a tax accountant. We knew what we were doing, and we could, as volunteers, create this organization.
Right.
And really, the only thing Friends of Nosara did for the first many years of its life was receive gifts and distribute them at no cost to the donor or to the organization that got them. I mean, the donor made the gift, and the entire gift went, at the time, there were 4. The library, Escuelita, Fucan, and Beach Protection. We created this fiction called the NCA Beach Protection Fund.
Nice.
I mean, it wasn't a fiction. It was real. It was there, and we funded it but we didn't actually, except for the library, where we were actively engaged in fundraising and going out and asking people for money. We didn't raise money for the monkeys or for any of the other organizations that ultimately joined us. They had their own fundraising operations, and they just told their U.S. taxpayers, if you want a tax deduction, write your check or send your money to Friends of Nosara and tell them it's for us, and then they'll give it to us.
So the story is the library basically was the catalyst that started it. You went and set up the paperwork, and then the funnel just kind of organically happened because the other organizations were seeking their own funds. You guys said, hey, there's a way to pass this through, and that was the snowball getting going.
Yeah. And from $8,000 in the first year of its operation, we grew to a point where we were transmitting $250,000 a year to local. Those were in the final
chills
years.
So you talk about that. That's crazy.
It's a lot of money here. It's a lot of money here. It was about 1.3 million is what we ultimately had passed through Friends of Nosara. And that's a tribute to the local organizations, the quality of their work, the quality of their outreach, the kind of importance that they brought to what they were doing for people willing to support.
I want to interrupt you because I want to get your back on that, because when I came in to move here full time, and Sarah Antonsen, another one of the saints of Nosara.
Yeah.
People have no clue what that woman's done for this place.
She's fabulous.
But her, Jesse Sheffield, just you, Bobby, like that's another reason I want to do the podcast, so people can see you and hear all this, because I don't want it to get lost. Yeah. The new people coming in don't know about all the stuff that happened. But back to your point, you really did scrub people. I've been through it a couple times with you guys, between security and between the Surf and Nosara Foundation and other things. Like, you really took a lot of pride and effort in making sure it's legit and people are using the funds appropriately. And this funnel that you created didn't mean just anyone could get in. Like, it was tough. And I had a lot of respect for that. And that's when I got to know you a little bit better. I was like, all right, this is solid, and this is something to get behind. But towards the end, before this most recent transition, which we're getting to, you guys had how many organizations, more or less?
We had 16 pretty actively engaged local organizations. In
what variety of organizations?
Oh, gosh.
For someone who's listening who doesn't know.
The Bomberos, the Del Mar Academy Scholarship Fund, which is now actually broader than that. The Two Monkey preserves, the Cebu Sanctuary, and
the Refuge.
The Refugio. Let me think who else is around that table. Well, Escuelita was one of our first. Fucan dropped out when the government really took over with the technical training. I have no idea what the status of that is now, or whether, but Bobby and her husband really had helped to create Fucan, and she, may I say, was the chair of the board of Friends of Nosara for 16 years.
Shout out to Bobby.
Yeah. Terrific.
I have a recorded episode with Bobby I've been sitting on for a while.
Yeah.
I think she wants to redo it. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But either way, the point is, Friends of Nosara had basically every type of angle. And that's what I liked about it, was if you want to give to the monkeys and to the animals, you have that. If you want to go trees, you have that. If you want to give to the kids in the schools, you have that. You can, whatever direction you want to go, you guys created a funnel, and it was brilliant.
And the truth is, it's not so necessary anymore.
No, but at that time.
At the time, people really, it mattered to people that they could get a tax deduction. And it was really important to the organizations for raising money from U.S. foundations. The U.S. foundations could not give to an organization in Nosara unless it had the approval of a 501c3 status. And so they could go to organizations that specialize in serving wildlife preservation needs or whatever. It was really important. But in fact, the new tax law has given so many more people no cause to give for a tax deduction. You know, I don't know how to say that. The standard deduction has gotten so big now that more people are taking the standard deduction, not itemizing, and other things have been more difficult, more stringent. The other things you have to, like to deduct medical costs, your costs have to be gargantuan, which they could be in the U.S. these days, But in any event, people don't itemize the way they used to under the new tax law.
Now, is this part of why there was such a big transition, or is that just different circumstances?
What was part of the and I'll talk to you about the transition. After 17 years, and our roles, Mike's and my roles, were Mike processed the money, oversaw the bank account, received and distributed, and I did receipts. And we got to the point where we were doing 750 receipts a year. And I am not very efficient office worker. So I just got worn out. And of course, I also am a professional fundraiser, so I think they all have to be personal. I can't just do a form and send it to them. I have to tell them what their organization is doing with their money, and on it goes. So I made it I made it more work than it needed to be. And pretty soon I got overwhelmed and decided we've done this enough now. We don't have to do this anymore.
And so what year are you talking about?
This was 3 years ago.
Okay.
The Guanacaste Community Fund was on the scene. They through Amigos of Costa Rica, a U.S. 501c3, were raising money here for all over Guanacaste, for use all over Guanacaste. But they were particularly helpful to the Friends of Nosara organizations. They
right, so you felt comfortable with them.
a lot of money here, yeah. Though I have to say, it wasn't a smooth transition. It was difficult. And eventually, the Guanacaste Community Fund stepped back, and we dealt just directly. Our organizations are now dealing directly with Amigos of Costa Rica, which is a Washington, D.C. based fundraising organization for the Costa Rica USA Foundation. Back during the Clinton administration, when President Clinton decided that the limited funds that Americans were willing to put into foreign aid were going to go to the countries most in need. Costa Rica wasn't among those countries, so the USAID program pulled out, and in compensation for that, there was created a foundation called the Costa Rica USA Foundation.
Okay.
Half its board members were appointed by the President of the United States, the other half by the President of Costa Rica, and they were given $60 million endowment and to kind of do foreign aid type things here, but not under the rubric of U.S. foreign aid or U.S. Agency for International Development, AID. And so for a long time, that organization wasn't a fundraising organization. All it did was spend the income from that $60 million endowment. And it distributed it, I would say, mostly to educational institutions, mostly in the Central Valley. We never saw a dime of that money for all the first 15 years of that organization's life. But Steve Mack got them to agree to do a research project in Guanacaste and to determine whether there was something they ought to be doing up here, and if so, what.
Well, shout out to Steve Mack.
Yeah, right. And so he did a year of traveling around Guanacaste, meeting, going from community to community, finding out what was going on there, what the needs were, what kind of resources were out there. Guanacaste has the distinction of being both the poorest province and the richest. I mean, we've got pockets of poverty here that are extraordinary and real serious needs, infrastructure needs, all kinds of needs. And we've got this massive amount of wealth on the Northwest Coast. And so Steve found a town where one developer had put $20 million to work providing healthcare for the local community. They had an Abais clinic where a doctor came once a month, and he said, that's not good enough. But what was different and distinctive and important to Steve about Nosara was that it wasn't a single funder just pumping out a big wad of cash. It was a whole lot of really committed people doing unpaid work to help their communities survive and thrive.
You put that well.
Yeah, and he was really impressed. He says there's nothing like Nosara anywhere in Costa Rica.
Wow.
And he told that to the board. And in any event, the upshot of Steve's work was the creation of the Guanacaste Community Fund, which basically invites wealthy people to hand their money over to the fund to do important work in this province.
I got you. So let's, I'll try to synopsize, if that's a word I can make up. Friends of Nosara basically was the channel and the conduit and the qualified locations for said money could flow through it. Now that's over and it's transitioned over into this, which you're describing right now, in the Guanacaste Community Fund. and they are a little bit different in that they actually allocate the funds, whereas Friends of Nosara was just, these guys are approved, we know they're good, choose the ones that you want. Is that a fair statement? They do and they
don't. In the world of community foundations, there's a thing called donor advised funds. And that's what Guanacaste Community Fund has created. So for example, John Johnson, or this guy with the $20 million up north, or other people with big money, give the Guanacaste Fund a big chunk of money. The Guanacaste Fund invests that money, gets income from that money, and distributes it. But the donor who created that, who gave them $2 million or whatever it is, does have a say. I mean, it's advised. The way the tax laws are written in the U.S., the donor can't direct the fund,
I got you,
but it can advise the fund. And if the fund has any, and which is really what the Friends of Nosara was, only under a different structure. We weren't a foundation. We quite specifically decided to be a 501c3, but we operated like a community foundation. Donors advised us how to use their gifts. We didn't take in and manage huge sums of money. We just funneled gifts.
Right.
But that's basically, but they actually take in big funds, use them to grow their capacity.
That's really interesting.
Help.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
So I'm learning.
Yeah.
Now, what would you advise the smaller to mid-sized person? Because in Nosara, we have a lot of people. I dare say most of our projects are funded by your kind of average folks who just have a heart and want to give back. What would you tell people who are coming into the community now who want to give back? How would you advise them? Or how would they do that? Or what would you recommend?
First, let me say something about what Friends of Nosara is doing now.
Okay.
We pulled out of the gift receipt and processing business, and 3 people have kind of taken over the leadership. I chair the board now, but I don't do very much of anything except advise these 3 people. Mary Brennan runs our Facebook page. Reagan Grant Jackson runs our website, and Kathy Wells oversees volunteer management. We get lots of emails from people. I'm coming to Nosara with my 2 teenage kids, and we're going to be there for a week, and we'd like to do something for the community while we're there. We get a lot of that kind of thing. And so I had been spending quite a lot of time trying to match volunteers with organizations that might have something for them to do. And I recommend that new people get involved as volunteers. I think that's the easiest way to find out where your gifts will be well used for a project that you care about.
What are a couple examples?
Well, every Thursday morning at the Recycle Center. How's that? Everybody, go there. Go there. There's work to be done. Bring gloves.
Maybe 2 sets of gloves.
Maybe 2, right.
That's one. What's another?
Olas Verde, the Guiones reforestation project at Playa Guiones.
Oh, Barry Guiones.
Yeah. Olas. Oh, I said
Olas Verdes is the hotel.
That's the hotel. That's not what I meant at all.
Hey, they did build in a very environmentally friendly manner, so shout out to them.
Yeah.
But Barry Guiones.
Yeah, Barry Guiones. What is their
Costas Verdes.
Costas Verdes, yeah.
Gerardo came in and did a podcast with us recently.
Yeah. And
Christian from the Recycling Center came in too. And
Yeah. The monkeys, both Cebu and Refugio use volunteers. The library uses volunteers. The Vanessa Beezy's Turtle Project uses volunteers. There are all kinds of things. We have a website. Go there. There are logos for each of our partner organizations. You click on the logo, you get through to their Facebook page or to their website, and then you can read about them and decide what it is you might like to get engaged with.
So the good news is Friends of Nosara is still very much alive and well, and directing people to great places and great organizations.
I want to say one more thing about that, because I was ready to dissolve it. Mike was ready to dissolve it. We just decided we were here to help raise money, and that function's being taken care of now. They don't need us anymore, and we could please now retire. But we have an annual meeting the first Sunday after January 1st every year. It's at Marlin Bill's. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning. Put it on your calendar right now for next January. It's an amazing, amazing experience. Our partner organizations send representatives, and each one of them takes 5 to 7 minutes to talk about what they've done this year and what their hopes and plans are for the year ahead. And I'm always in tears. I mean, I'm in tears just thinking about it. It is the most powerful, moving experience to see what's going on in this community on the strength of people's passion and commitment and volunteer energy. It's just an extraordinary, extraordinary thing.
Can I jump in on that sentiment? So part of what I'm trying to do with the podcast in my daily life, and in my daily life, I'm so busy just trying to pay bills and just get through and deal with the challenges of life down here and kids and all these things. And life can be challenging down here, believe it or not. Yeah. Part of the podcast thought was people could listen to this and then figure out, I could get on a bigger level, right? And more people could give. And I think the solution to the majority of our problems are the people who are coming in now who have the money. Because when you were here doing this and Bobby was doing this, it was very slim pickings. You're squeezing blood from a turnip. You didn't have the funding. You didn't have the people. You had the nature. You had the lack of crowds. You had all these things that are starting to go away. And I'm not denying that there's problems with growth. That's just how the world works. But the one good thing that's happening is the people who are coming to Nosara for whatever reason have capacity to give. And some of them want to, but they don't really know how or where. They're kind of just... What I'm trying to do is break this whole vacation home mentality. If I just come in, do my thing, I gave an extra tip to my surf instructor, and that was my way of giving back. What I want to do is tap into the people who are coming in. I see this as an opportunity to provide much needed solutions that we've never had before. And that's not being brought up enough. So I'm trying to scream it here right now with you and get guidance from you. What would you say to your average person who maybe they bought a lot, or they're going to build a house, or they build a home? Like, not all of them are going to be here that Sunday to see that emotional experience you just said. Like, how do we convey and reach them?
Well, I do think that active engagement with a chosen organization is the best way to find out what's going on here.
So volunteer. You stick by that. It's volunteer at various places.
The food bank. Once a month, they've got a day where they pack up all the goods that have been donated and purchased for distribution to 25, 30, sometimes 50 and 60 local families in need of food. And they've got a whole volunteer crew, and it'd be inspiring. Just as that meeting is inspiring, getting together with a group of volunteers to get something done is inspiring. And I think if people are coming here looking for any kind of inspiration at all, that's a place to find it.
I agree. Now, let me jump to the other side of that, though. What if people are... They're already sold on the concept that they want to give back. They don't feel like volunteering for whatever reason. Money. They want to give money. And that's also something we very much need. Volunteers are nice, but without capital, we're not going to accomplish anything. Yeah. So
friendsofnosara.org. friendsofnosara.org.
Check out the buffet of options there.
Yep. And you can just click through to give to whatever organization suits your fancy.
So there's a pretty good chance if it's on friendsofnosara.org, it's a pretty decent institution.
Well, it's been monitored for as long as it's been a member. And that January meeting is part of the monitoring process. I mean, they're required if Vicki Cohen can't get there because Cebu is just overwhelming her this week, she sends a written report and it's available and distributed. You know, that's a part of the reporting process that allows us, as the board of Friends of Nosara, to be certain that our money is being used well.
Right. So I tip my hat to you because I can attest to that from personal experience. You guys are totally on it. And thank you again for the millionth time. All right. So change subjects a little bit in the interest of time. So there's a lot going on around here right now. We have unparalleled growth, I would say. Now, that being said, compared to a huge city, it's still not very much. But by Nosara standards, we've gotten kind of popular. I didn't think it would ever happen. I'm still shocked. I'll never forget the time that news article came out. I think it was top 40 places to go before you die. I want to say it was like late 2013. When that happened, I was like, what? Nosara? Because people were calling me. They're like, they said Nosara in a real publication. I was like, no, they didn't. They just meant Costa Rica. Yeah. And it didn't just happen once. It happened again and again and again. And then it just kind of steamrolled.
National Geographic Explorer.
Yeah, top 20
20 best beaches in the world.
Outside Magazine, Lifestyle. Like so the list goes on and on. Yeah. And I'm still to this day kind of shocked because Nosara is a place that you go if someone tells you about it. The access is hard. The amenities are low. The nightlife is non-existent. The roads are atrocious. Like it's not a place that your average tourist just seems to find. And now people roll in every day. Yeah, I saw this on this magazine or on this website or on this whatever. So I'm still trying to digest it. And I'm in the belly of the beast. I like working in the industry. Yeah. So here we are today. We have a zoning plan that's been proposed and is kind of, I guess, I don't know if negotiate is the right word or they're seeking feedback, but there's a whole lot of stuff going on right now. So from your perspective, from being here to 99, it's now 2019. Is it too late to have a zoning plan? Can we still make a difference with this thing? Like, I want to know your opinion on this. Now, I don't want to debate the merits of it. I just want to know your opinion.
My opinion is that it's late, but better late than never. I find myself sharing the concerns that we're developing like a city without, for example, a central processing plant for our human waste. You know, it's when you build. Well, let's see. I remember one day at the Iguana. The Iguana has right out front of the Iguana is the road to the beach. If your back is turned to the Iguana and you're facing the beach, the first lot on the left-hand side, just across the road from the Iguana, great big billboard. I don't remember the number or letter of that lot, but it was a single lot. And it had, the billboard showed the map, and it was divided into 3 lots. And across the top of the billboard, it said, fight density. Build a single family home on one of these lots.
That's interesting.
They built 3 single family homes on a lot that was designed for 1. God, well, I'll never forget it. You know, but that's the story here. We take a lot intended for a single home, we divide it into 3 or 4, and then we've got nowhere to put the sewage. You know, and we don't have a system where it can go to a treatment plant over by the river or wherever it is you put your solid waste.
It's individual based per property.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not enough room on a 1/3 of a lot to have your own septic system.
For anyone listening, let's clarify. So one of the big debates right now is lot sizes.
Yeah.
So, and opinions are across the board.
Right. Where are you going to put your septic system on a 300-meter lot? I think that North Guiones is a mess. There's no place to put the cars. If there's a truck delivering, there's nobody going anywhere.
It's hard to drive through there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just craziness. And while you can say we're running out of space, the fact is we are facing right now the opening up of a huge lot of property that has been closed and forest for decades. And I say, let's get some rules in place before those lots are sold so that the people who buy them know what's permitted and what isn't permitted. So I think, for one thing, clarity is a primary value. Now, whether it's 300 meters or 1,000 meters or residential or commercial, clarity is important. And that's one of the things that getting something on paper and adopted by the municipality and enforced by the municipality will do for us.
Your casual listener won't understand what you were just referencing.
Yeah, well, those lots were in controversy, and now they're out of controversy, and there are a lot of them. And we have relied on them to house our wildlife, to still let us see howler monkeys. Are we gonna let all those monkey trails be destroyed? Is there going to be nowhere for wildlife to live here? It's always been a hallmark of this community that you see wildlife when you go to Nosara, which you don't see at Tamarindo or in Hako. It's something that, and we take such pleasure in that giving that up. I just think we need to protect as much of as we can. And this many home sites are problematic in a way that this many home sites wouldn't be. I think that we need to be careful not to delude ourselves that necklace of parkland is going to save our wildlife. Because there's a lot of undeveloped land here, the land that I was talking about that's soon to be on the market, that's being cleared right now. I see them out there with their machetes, clearing them, owned by a single person who's now free to sell. And we've thought of her land as parkland, and it isn't. It's private land, and if it turns out to be developed like North Guiones is developed, I think we've destroyed what Nosara what attracted all of us.
If you go too hard, there's the pushback is just such a mess.
The people pushing back have money, and the people seeking preservation don't.
Well,
and so, of course, there's going to be pushback, and in most places in the world, the people with money win. Yeah, we'd like Nosara to be different. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know I don't know the details. My understanding is that it's already happened, that those regulations are in place and enforceable. They're considered temporary.
Yeah, not quite. So I'll fill you in real quick. What happened was the first round of it passed by the regulatory board that's making the proposal. So it hasn't been enacted yet, so they're not in place. So the issue, what all the hullabaloo was over, is that they were announced as passed, so people just assumed they were, and that wasn't the case. So people felt upset that they didn't get an opportunity to offer any insider opinion. There was nothing to back it up. So what I've been trying to scream from the rafters is get your voice in now.
Yeah.
This is the time, and people talk about Nicoya so much. Well, maybe for some good reasons in the past, but as it stands right now, Nicoya is listening.
That's what I hear. I'm real impressed with
so
all
shout
of
out
that.
to Josue and the team. They really are. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But let's move on in the interest of time. So I want to know I already know your Nosara likes. I could guess it's nature, the community, your friends.
Boy, yeah.
But I want to know what your dislikes are. Quickly, just off the top of your head.
Roads, of course. Who wouldn't say the roads right now?
So roads?
Yeah.
Roads?
And I do, the dislikes are so minuscule in comparison with the value of the likes that, what am I going to say? Our electricity flashes off every night 3 times, and then we have to sign back into Netflix. Well, I mean, really, this doesn't happen in the United States. We live with it.
But so roads.
Roads, for sure.
What else off the top of your head?
Roads
is a good one.
And it feeds so much. I personally find the end of the dry season really miserable here. I can't wait to get out of here. We've taken the habit of leaving by the 1st of March and not coming back until the rains, But that's because of the roads.
Well, so roads and dust are probably...
If we weren't all breathing that dust, It's still really, really hot in March, but I've got a swimming pool. Nice. I can get cool and turn on a fan if I need to, But otherwise, I can't say that there's anything lacking here. We really...
So you still love it?
Yeah, we do. We sit on our terrace every night and say, God, we're so lucky to be here. And that is how we feel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
Things have changed for us. When we first started coming, we went out to eat every night. Now there are literally dozens and dozens of restaurants we couldn't even find if we needed to go there to eat, because we eat at home now. And our life has changed since we arrived here. Mike used to walk the beach every single day. Now he feels really good if he gets down there twice a week, and he's okay with that.
Well, you've swapped that beach walk for beautiful views and breezes and privacy.
And for sure, it's easily 3 to 5 degrees cooler where we live, and there is a breeze, and that makes a huge difference.
Hey, you got to be careful. You're doing an advertisement for Bosco Verde. This whole thing pretty hard.
And it's not just Bosco Verde. There are plenty of places around here where you can be a part of this community without the suffering that happens. I'm okay with the idea that there's a tourist center here, and people come here in the middle of March from 6 feet of snow, and they don't mind the heat. And I feel like a frog in boiling water. It's just little by little, January, February, March. I can't take it anymore.
Hey, let's go back to restaurants. I want to know what your 3 favorite restaurants are in no particular order. And what do you like to get there, more or less?
I really like Marlin Bill's for lunch. I think they've got a terrific lunch menu. I've never had anything on their lunch menu I didn't like. But mostly I love the big Caesar salad with chicken.
That's a hit.
Yeah, it is.
The Caesar salad with grilled chicken, buffalo. How do you call that? Grilled buffalo Caesar salad. That's a winner. Yeah. I get that a lot.
And Mike loves the cheeseburgers there.
Okay.
And of course his fries. Anything he deep fries is fabulous.
Right.
We like Bill. La Dolce Vita is our special occasion restaurant, and mostly that's because we're now so far away from it. Mm-hmm. It's the furthest from our home, but we've been going there since Jerry and Jane were the owners and operators in the 90s, and we just
what do you like to get?
Buscaola. It's a pot of pasta and ham, and I don't even know what all else, and white sauce. It's just fabulous. I like their spaghetti with jumbo shrimp and little olive oil and hot peppers.
All right, so Dolce Vita's number 2.
And 3, oh my God. I will say I just discovered, Freddy's. Freddy's is now it used to be called La Casona at the curve on the way. Well, now he's got a little storefront type restaurant over in Arenales. And we get a pizza from him every Sunday night. And we also bring home a roast chicken that's the best roast chicken you have ever had in your mouth. And we eat on that roast chicken all week. I mean, we use it for sandwiches. We use it for quesadillas. So I have to give Freddie a shout out for that. He's just terrific.
Still going.
He's, by the way, doing a very good business over there. We go on Sunday night at 6:00. It's full. He actually keeps adding tables and booths, but he's got 3 or 4 booths that'll hold 6 people, and then he's got tables inside, and then he's got a few tables outside, and then he's got 6 people waiting to pick up carryout. So we just love that Freddie is thriving right at the foot of our hill.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Get another Bosco Verde's having a good day from you today. That's for sure. Yeah. So let me ask you this. While you have this platform, is there any particular message, shout outs, thank yous, or anyone anything you'd like to get out there?
Well, I've already named the 3 women who've taken over the management of Friends of Nosara from us, and I love them dearly. Kathy Wells, Mary Brennan, and Reagan Grant
Big thank yous to all of them.
All of them. Big thank yous to them. Bobby, of course, has been all of our inspiration forever. I mean, we were here when Bobby was the recycle center. Bags and bags. And she's the person who made Coca-Cola bring in returnable bottles. You know, they wouldn't do it for the longest time, and they wouldn't take recycling. And so, you know, we love Bobby, and we're really grateful to her. Paula White is the person we call on if we have a snake in our house. She comes and takes care of it for us, though we know Ryan Bombard is really good at that. Paula's just right around the corner from us, so she's come to Mike's rescue. Funny. I don't know. You know,
those are all really good people.
Yeah, they are. The place is full of really good people.
And it weird like that?
It really is. Beverly Kitson, you know, has been the heart and soul of that library forever. And she has grown it into an amazing, amazing organization that does so much for the community. Dozens and dozens and dozens of English-speaking Ticos learned it at the library.
Who have opportunities now.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell her story sometime. Like,
she's worth talking to. That's for sure.
Well, hey.
And I played tennis with her this morning, and she's unbeatable.
She's a machine.
Amazing. Yeah, she is. She's just amazing.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing so much. There's just so much. You've seen so much. I could talk to you forever. And I guess I would really want to thank you for being able to categorize things and helping a lot of your friends, because a lot of us get emotional around things and events. And from what I've seen you in meetings, like literally, hey, pause, take a breath, think about it from this perspective. We're moving on to here. We'll get back to that. And you, I don't know if it's from back in your days and working in universities or whatnot, but you have a skill set that was really, really needed here and has benefited a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich. You've done a lot for this community too. And it goes mostly unsung, you know.
Maybe just get my back online when I'm getting attacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
No good deed goes unpunished. That's one thing I've learned.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you, Rich.
Right.